according to the HistoryJunkie.com, it's estimated that over 1,500 Apache had to be forcibly removed from their original tribal land and walk 150 miles to California so new settlers could come, and the U.S. government forcibly kicked these Apache off of their tribal land. One of the most famous stories coming from that is the story of Geronimo. So Geronimo was the last leader of a band of Apache who fought against the U.S. government. He led multiple attacks against them, and he ended up being arrested, and it took more than 5,000 U.S. troops, and he ended up being arrested along with 50 other people and sent to Florida to a prison on a army base there where he died. And this was just a stepping stone into what my speech is going to be talking about. I'm going to be talking about how the U.S. government could have handled the reservation system differently and why it was handled terribly. So the first thing about the reservation system is that on the reservation, there was terrible living conditions. So Apache had no education. Poverty was very, very high. No food, no resources. One of the main causes of this is because the U.S. government took these peoples from a place where they knew how to get resources and moved them to a completely different climate, completely different area where they didn't know how to get resources. And that led to, like what I said before, a lot of poverty and poor education because of poverty. So then children on the reservation can't get off of the reservation because they have no way of learning how to move on, and this led to a lot of problems with alcoholism and drug use. And then that led to a lot of diseases because people couldn't pay for vaccines and proper care. And this was just a huge problem. So then the U.S. government thought that it would be a good idea to pass an act called the Dawes Act, and that was in 1887. And this was to take away tribal governing councils. And so this felt like to the Apache that their rights were being infringed on, and they couldn't even think for themselves, pretty much. But this was demolished by Franklin D. Roosevelt, and then he created the reservation with their own lands and their own governing council, which was a better idea, but their land was owned by the government, so that means their rights of the land were stripped. And so this became a great lead into poverty for these Native Americans, or for the Apache. And so I think that the reservation system could have been handled a lot differently by not taking away the original tribal lands that these Apache lived on. And that would have helped a lot of things, because then the poverty would have been lessened because people could have got resources that they've always had and known how to get on their original tribal lands. Thank you.